When the Spanish first arrived in the islands, they were amazed that this was no haven of savages, but the islands were home to advanced empires and using written language, the Baybayin being one of them. The Baybayin script was actually in use during the Spanish colonial era, being in widespread use and public knowledge until the late 1800s, which was at that time roughly the end of Spanish rule. The end came because by this time nearly all of the Philippines was completely Latinized, with only certain regions escaping this fate. With the Spanish rule, native Filipino culture and identity were replaced with Latin aspects. Native Filipino names were replaced with Spanish names, cities and islands were renamed with Spanish names, and lastly, language was changed. The Baybayin, along with other written languages, was not passed to future generations because previous ones did not have the time to teach it to their descendants, or believed it to be heathenistic and outdated, favoring Spanish or later English when the Americans took over from Spain and controlling the islands. In the modern Philippines, the Baybayin language is not necessarily understood. First reason being that after independence, Baybayin was not known among the people enough to be the national language, seeing how by this time in the 1940s, the first generation of Filipino leaders were roughly the grandsons of the last Baybayin writers. Thus, they did not know the language, and it was not viable as the language of the country. If the leaders did not know the language, then how would the people? Second reason that English seemed more favorable than the Baybayin as the national language along with Tagalog. Both were in use and much easier to teach in some ways than the Baybayin. Third reason being that Baybayin was never standardized, as there were different regional variations of the language. One written text may appear slightly different if it was read in different regions of the country. There was never any single form of the language adopted anywhere in the Philippines.